It's 3 defeats in 3 games for Manchester United, and Ruben Amorim's prediction that a storm will come was very much correct. United were dumped out of the Carabao Cup at Tottenham, and they followed that up with a 3-0 loss to Bournemouth before Boxing Day's abysmal 2-0 defeat to Wolves. The good news for Amorim is United's injury list is far shorter than it has been at times over the last few seasons. But there are still some key players on the sidelines who would likely be part of Amorim's strongest starting 11, were they fit. Mason Mount. What Amorim said, he will be out for several weeks. I don't know the exact date, but it's going to be for long, and that's it. That's part of football, you continue. Luke Shaw, injury. Hamstring Shaw suffered a hamstring injury just weeks after returning from injury. He confirmed he had picked up a knock in a social media post, adding that he was absolutely devastated to have suffered another setback. What Amorim said, what I said to him as a coach since I'm here. I saw him in the medical department, in the gym. I saw him losing weight. I saw him in training, so he did everything right. Expected return date, unknown. Matthijs de Ligt. Reason for absence, illness. The Dutch defender was on the bench at Wolves but did not make an appearance. He is expected to be part of the squad to face Newcastle. Expected return date, Newcastle, Victor Lindelof. Injury, unknown. After making a rare start against Tottenham, Lindelof picked up an injury and was replaced in the first half of United's Carabao Cup defeat. What Amorim has said, I think he has something we have to assess to say specifically what he has, but it's tough to lose a player. Expected return date, unknown. Barcelona are understood to be confident they will now be able to register Dani Olmo for the remainder of this season after agreeing an £83 million deal just before the deadline. The La Liga club have been working non-stop after an appeal earlier this week to stop Spain's football authority blocking Olmo's registration was rejected. La Liga have insisted that Barca must find extra income if they are to allow the midfielder to be registered for the remainder of the campaign. In the summer, Barcelona were handed a temporary registration for the remainder of 2024 after they managed to readjust wages to comply with their commitments to financial fair play, FFP. However, La Liga have so far been backed by the courts who believe the Spanish club have not brought in enough revenue to justify Olmo being registered for the remainder of the season. Barcelona argued that refusing Olmo a registration infringed on the player's workers' rights, but that was rejected by the Catalonian court. If they had not found an extra income stream before January, Olmo would be allowed to leave the club on a free transfer next week. This led to speculation that United could snap him up, especially when his agent admitted to visiting Manchester on Boxing Day. However, The Guardian reports that an £83 million deal to sell VIP boxes at the newly revamped Camp Nou has been agreed with Middle Eastern investors, and the first payment will arrive before the deadline. If that is the case, Olmo would be granted a registration, and United's hopes of signing the talented attacking midfielder will have been scuppered. Manchester United winger Ahmad believes there is a player in the current squad who shows better leadership than Bruno Fernandes ahead of his suspension on Monday night. Fernandes was sent off for a second bookable offence with the scores tied at 0-0 during the Premier League clash with Wolverhampton Wanderers on Boxing Day. Ruben Amorim chose not to acknowledge the captain as he exited the pitch, and the dismissal would prove to be the turning point as United lost 2-0 at Molineux. The red card means that Fernandes will be unavailable to face Newcastle in the next clash, meaning Amorim will need to choose not only a player to play alongside Ahmad as a number 10, but also a captain for the night. In a recent interview with SuperSport, the Ivorian was asked to create the perfect United player using attributes from the existing squad. When it came to leadership, Fernandes was bypassed in favour of Lisandro Martinez. The Argentine centre-back is likely to start against the Magpies on Monday night, and it appears Ahmad would back him to be the stand-in captain should Amorim wish for squad input. Casemiro, who could come in to replace the suspended Manuel Ugarte, and Harry Maguire may also be considered as options to wear the armband in Fernandes' absence. Whoever is picked to replace the Portuguese attacking midfielder will be an indication of whom Amorim sees as an example in the squad for others to follow. Fernandes will be back in the United squad for the trip to Liverpool on Sunday, January 5th. Sir Alex Ferguson issued a ruthless "I told you" message to a devastated Manchester United squad straight after their title defeat to Manchester City. The 2011/12 title battle has gone down as the greatest of the Premier League era. Another championship was in United's grasp for most of the final day, which saw them win at Sunderland. That meant City needed 3 points against QPR, who led for much of the game at the Etihad. Entering added time, the West London club was still 2-1 in front, with many City fans already giving up and pouring out of the stadium. But then Edin Dzeko equalised in the 92nd minute before Sergio Aguero, accompanied by Martin Tyler's iconic commentary, scored the goal that won the title on goal difference. The news soon filtered through to the shell-shocked United players and fans at the Stadium of Light. Despite losing the title in such gut-wrenching fashion, Ferguson didn't mince his words in the dressing room, lamenting the team's failure to rack up more convincing victories, and therefore boost their goal difference. Former United player Tom Cleverley, now Watford's head coach, will never forget what United's legendary boss told the players. He told United's official website, "The manager said to us all, 'I told you.' That's why I wanted you to be more ruthless and really kill teams, because you can lose leagues on goal difference." That's how much of a winner he was, how ruthless he wanted us to be. If we'd done that, scored more goals, really killed teams, we'd have won the league in 11-12. Cleverley admitted he still hadn't watched that epic finale back. He said, "I wasn't in the squad at Sunderland that day, but I was on my way down from the director's box at the Stadium of Light, and as soon as Dzeko scored City's equaliser, I knew. I could see it unfolding and that it was meant to be theirs. It was a terrible, terrible day in my career. I still can't listen to Martin Tyler's commentary when the clip comes on Sky Sports. You know the one." United bounced back in style by romping to the title in 2012/13, Sir Alex's final season before retirement. It was United's last league title, and the next one appears further away than ever, with Ruben Amorim now tasked with the previously unthinkable prospect of staving off a relegation battle. Ferguson's retirement was followed by an era of domination, with City winning the league 7 times between 2014 and 2024, 6 under Pep Guardiola. However, that domination has ground to a juddering halt this season, with City in disarray in both the Premier League and Champions League. Manchester United are monitoring young Belgian goalkeeper Senne Lammens after seeing both of their senior shot stoppers make high-profile errors in recent weeks. United's season continues to go through a turbulent spell under new boss Ruben Amorim, and while the entire team have been guilty of under-par performances, goalkeepers Andrea Onana and Altay Bayındır have both made mistakes. The duo each allowed Tottenham and Wolves to score directly from a corner in the last few games, while Onana also came under fire earlier this month for making gaffes against Nottingham Forest and Victoria Plzen. Now United are hoping to remedy the situation by adding more competition in between the sticks, according to the Telegraph, with a move for highly rated Lammens. The Royal Antwerp star has already caught attention from Bundesliga clubs such as Borussia Dortmund, the report claims, and United have sent scouts to watch the 22-year-old to ensure they get ahead of the curb. It says that while a move in January is not a priority, there could be movement in the summer, especially if Bayındır chooses to go elsewhere in search of first-team opportunities. Onana joined United for £47 million from Inter last summer, but has been highly scrutinised for a string of errors. The former Ajax keeper has made a total of 76 appearances for the Red Devils. The report goes on to say that United will be limited with signings in January transfer window as they look to comply with financial fair play regulations. There could be a number of outgoings, however, with Juventus reportedly eyeing up a move for Joshua Zirkzee amid his difficult start to life at Old Trafford since his big money switch from Bologna in the summer. Another United player who is being strongly linked with an exit is Marcus Rashford, who gave a bombshell interview revealing he wants to leave the club following a difficult season, and has been left out of the last 4 matchday squads. However, despite interest from Juventus in Zirkzee, it's also reported that they are not interested in pursuing a move for Rashford, who could be forced to play outside of Europe amid rumours he is being chased by Saudi clubs. Bruno Fernandes may be Manchester United's most influential player, but he endured another evening to forget on Boxing Day. Not for the first time this season, the Portugal international was given his marching orders to leave his teammates in the lurch. United went on to lose 2-0 to Wolves, and now face the prospect of having to do without their captain when they host Newcastle on Monday night, in a match they could very much do with winning. While one of Fernandes' red cards was later overturned, he's now seen red 3 times this season. And that sparked a fresh debate over whether or not the midfielder, as supremely talented as he is a suitable choice to wear the armband for United. We asked the Mirror football team whether they think Fernandes should keep the captaincy, and if not, who Ruben Amorim should give the armband to Samuel Bruno Fernandes. The perception isn't quite aligned with the reality anymore. The first 18 months were impressive, and that has somewhat carried him since. It's easy to forget that Fernandes came into a United side that were, it felt, at rock bottom. Any player with an ounce of personality and talent would have made an impact, as he did. Nowadays, though, he is not having anywhere near the same influence. His attitude and antics on the pitch are almost toxic, and only those with a misconstrued idea of what a desire to win is would claim what he does is, in some way, driving standards. Roy Keane really did drive standards in Manchester once upon a time, and if he is saying the captaincy needs to be taken away from him, that probably says it all. His red card was born out of frustration, and whilst it is his 3rd this year, can happen. Keane wasn't immune to a red card or 2, but the 2 are not cut from the same cloth. Ben Husband. The first part of this question is simple. Fernandes shouldn't be United's captain. Frankly, he never should have been in the first place. When the chips are down, he is constantly found wanting and moaning. And while he's undoubtedly United's best player, he doesn't ever appear like their best leader. The second part of this question is the really tricky one, however. Who is a leader in this squad? They are so devoid of personality and character that giving anyone the armband is difficult. In reality, the only real leader United have is Harry Maguire. He took the decision from Erik Ten Hag to remove the captaincy in his stride, and for all of his faults, remains their best defender, particularly in the shape Amorim wants to deploy. Much of the next few months will be Amorim working his way through the litany of mistakes his predecessor made. Reverting Ten Hag's decision on the club captain should probably be the easiest. Mike Walters United should have taken the armband off Fernandes after that 7-0 shelling at Anfield. He is a fine, progressive player who prefers a forward pass to the shrinking violet sideways or backwards mantra, but as a leader of men, I wouldn't follow him into the chip shop, let alone the trenches. This is your captain sinking. 3 red cards in one season is too many for anyone, let alone the leader of a global institution like Manchester United. The problem for Ruben Amorim is finding viable alternatives as captain, because there are few players in that squad who are guaranteed a place in the starting 11. Maybe Erik Ten Hag should not have taken the job away from Harry Maguire in the first place. Matthew Cooper, Bruno Fernandes, has always divided opinion as Manchester United captain. But even if Ruben Amorim decides he no longer wants him, the issue then becomes the sheer lack of alternatives. Aside from Fernandes, only Diogo Dalot, Noussair Mazraoui, Amad Diallo and Manuel Ugarte have featured in all 10 of Amorim's games in charge so far, and none of them feel like realistic captaincy candidates right now. As a result, it feels like Amorim may as well stick with Fernandes for the time being. But the lack of real leadership in his squad is something he certainly needs to address. And when he does have some genuine candidates to replace Fernandes, it would not be a surprise to see Amorim strip him of the captaincy. He did not seem happy at all after Fernandes' latest red card, and United could clearly do with an inspirational captain to lead by example. Jacob leaks, Bruno Fernandes is an undoubtedly quality footballer, but his time as captain should be cut short. His attitude too often leaves much to be desired, and his tendency to throw his toys out of the pram is something which spreads throughout the team. 3 red cards before the end of the year is also unacceptable. With Ruben Amorim needing to lay down the law to his ill-disciplined and struggling team, stripping Fernandes of the captaincy should be a move he makes soon. In terms of who steps up, there are few clear candidates. But once he returns from illness, Matthijs de Ligt would be my pick.